This year's election is so important to Haverhill, and it's important to me, but it's important to the voters. I'm here, and the reason I'm running is I'm running because I have this kind of support in the room. I have other support, and I'm running to make Haverhill a better city, to make Haverhill a little bit different than what we're of the norm. It's been 20 years. 20 years is that we don't been on the same path, and I think Haverhill can use a little bit of spice, and spice in a good way. November 7th, Haverhill will have a new mayor, and I want to be that person. I'm running against a mayoral candidate who has been a city councilor for 10 years. I believe, and this is my personal belief, that we're just going to have the same leadership, the same growth pattern. Haverhill's just going to stay in that same rut, and things are just going to carry on. And I believe Haverhill can do better, and it can do a lot better. A lot of people, like Laurie brought up earlier, and she kind of took my thunder on this one, but that's okay. We'll talk later. Some people have questioned my experience and compared to my opponent, and I have nothing bad to say about the opponent at all. Nothing at all. I get along with him very well. Get along with it very well. My 32 years of experience in law enforcement, being a prior Marine, I've been involved in real life situations. I've responded to issues that haven't been addressed by our city or that have been presented during the current mayor administration, and things that have been voted on by city council now that actually impact our city in so many ways. I'm not that person that sits behind a desk and just make decisions blindly or vote on something, get an agenda ahead of time and vote, and not actually see what the actual impact it has on the city or has in the streets. I have no problem, and I don't know how many people are in this room that could probably say, I have no problem putting on a pair of jeans and work boots and actually going out and seeing what's going on the ground. That's where I came from. That's my experience. Just sitting on and voting, I've done that. Being 19 years as the vice president of the police relief, we have meetings, we run by the Roberts rules. We have an agenda, we go by it, we vote on certain things. I can do that, and I know I can do it strongly, and I can make a good decision. Being mayor is being a figurehead. It is the people that are around you, that you have around you, that have your support and that will support you in making good decisions, and they help you along making those decisions. And I'm going to be that person to do it. Being elected as mayor, as we know, can make a bold statement. With that, progress is good. I believe building right now, we should do slow and make progress, being mindful of all of our resources. My platform hasn't changed at all. It hasn't changed since I ran in 2021, and it hasn't changed now. My beliefs are what my beliefs are. Some people agree and some don't. I think growth is good, but I think we need to slow it down a little bit and make sure that it's not putting us in a situation that we can't afford to live here any longer. And I'll make sure, as mayor, I'll make sure that that doesn't happen to Haverhill. With the growth, we have to look at the impact that it has on the school. We have to look at the impact it has on our businesses and our public safety. We can make a strong statement of leadership in the city in a direction to move Haverhill forward in a much more controlled and responsible way. Some of my plans to address is definitely, I don't know why a lot of people talk. They say that I'm not a public safety guy, which is kind of odd because I've done it for so long. But I could use my firsthand knowledge of public safety, that I know what we're lacking in and what we need, and we all know what it is, but we can't run out and just do it. I will work together, which I know right now there's not much of a loving relationship between City Council, the school committee, and the mayor's office. And I would like to bring that back together and make it a working hand, because that's how you work in conjunction with each other and you make good decisions, and you make good decisions on the city. I'd like to address the growing population of the homeless and the mental health and drug abuse issues in Haverhill, which we have a lot of. Before I retired from the police department, my last tour was on the behavioral response unit. I worked directly with a clinician, a licensed clinician, and we would respond to all the calls of the mental health issues, every one of them. And the new things we started responding to was the drug addictions or drug overdoses, and that put such a huge weight on that little department of ours. There was only myself, another officer, and another clinician, along with my clinician, and that was it. Once I retired, we lost that second clinician and that second one. Now we're back down to one officer, one clinician. I don't have the exact numbers, but I can certainly tell you that position could probably have 4 or 5 officers assigned to it with clinicians. The tough part is finding the clinicians to do that and actually responding to those calls. They are very dangerous. My last 3 calls before I retired, and Laurie will speak to me, that's why I left a few months earlier, is the last 3, I had physical fights with the mental health person, and my clinician had to run and call for help, or I had to have another call on the radio when I had a chance as I fought, and all 3 times I had to be checked out of the hospital. I'm getting old. I don't realize that the bumps and bangs hurt as much as they do when they carry on for days. But we need to make partnerships with organizations and facilitate these needs of these people. I do know, working directly in that department, that there is so many resources out there that aren't being tapped into that should be, but we just don't have the man-woman power to do it. We have one person, and the power there to keep sending these people or helping them. We need, for any drug addiction or mental health issues, and even the homeless, we need to help them along and assist them to the roads of either their shelter or recovery. And there's a lot to take into it, but we've got to make partnerships with these organizations. To address our infrastructure, particularly in the downtown, as we all know, I had some people here that weren't even outside for 2 seconds, couldn't get to a parking thing, and they got parking tickets on their car, all of them.
Right.
Just happened to be when he was walking by before you could pay, and there is one person that actually paid 20 minutes prior to getting a ticket. So I think we need to get a handle of the parking downtown. I have some great ideas. Again, it's going to cost money, but I have some great ideas. Our school department, in the maintenance of the buildings and the upkeeps of those, we need to support our teachers, our staffs, our students, the parents. We need them to stay here and make Haverhill their home and not uproot and leave because of the school system and the arguments they make of how it's not that good. And we've had some great teachers here, and they start their career and they move along to the next city or the next town. Their pay is better, their conditions are a little bit better. Laurie, being a teacher for 27 years, I've told her before, I really, I gotta say this, and I'm just gonna say off cuff, I thought teachers just had the summers off. You work 8 months a year, you get a few weeks off here and there throughout the year, vacation, you're off all summer, and holy cow, they're making all this money. And it is not like that. It is not like that at all. This woman puts in, even in the summertime, she puts in hours working, preparing for the following students that she doesn't even know she has. So hats off to the teachers. I really do think that they need some real support. They do need it, and Haverhill can do it. It's been 20 years Haverhill has not had a debt exclusion override, and I'm going to, my own personal opinion is it wouldn't been allowed under the administration that's there. They would never allow something like that. It would be not good for the administration. So I know Haverhill can do better. I know we have the money. And if we don't, when I sit down and I finally look, we can figure it out. But Haverhill has the best tax rate right now in this area. Everybody complains they're high, which they're going to be, but if you go over the bridge to Grove and Georgetown, they're much higher for a much more smaller plot. But that's something to look at. I want to keep our open spaces, and I'm winding down here just so everybody knows. I see a couple heads bowing and some eyes. I want to keep Haverhill's open. We have beautiful open spaces, and I want to keep those open spaces. I want them to enjoy. You know, I want to encourage businesses to come here. Performing Arts Center would be fantastic, and Haverhill is such a great place to have such a facility. And I know we have somewhere somebody can bite on that bone and they'll find it and put something up there that can assist nonprofit organizations to assist, and so somebody can have a home, and that's what we have. I truly enjoy going to the North Shore Music Theater. My mother over here has season tickets, and I go there every year to see the Christmas special they have there. Every year it's different and it's amazing. But we have to focus on, you know, we have businesses leaving downtown. We really have to focus on the parking. I'd love to have a lot more. We've seen the youth activities in the city have kind of just died down, and the kids really don't have anything to do. They'd rather sit behind the TV and or behind their phone or a video game, and that's it, and not be involved in other activities. But I'd like to get involved with some, you know, youth groups, other organizations, and have them come in and try to assist in the task and make it affordable for kids to play. When I coached when I coached the youth football, Dan McDonald over here, longtime coach with youth football. Boy, he was a tough coach too, let me tell you.
Of course he was.
Those 7-year-olds, man, how many times did those guys chase that football down the field? He's got a good leg. I don't know why he doesn't punt pro.
They didn't listen.
I know. But we had kids that they couldn't afford equipment, or they couldn't afford to pay. It shouldn't be a money thing. We should be able to have them play. There's going to be a point in life where it's going to turn around, and I think these kids are going to give back to the community when they do that stuff. But and that's the time that we need to start arranging them and getting them in the mindset of giving back, and not just out there running the streets, and I don't want to use certain terms, but running around the streets with nothing to do, breaking windows and smashing bottles and causing hate and discontent. And if they're focused on something, then, you know, we can get them into it. The only other couple of things I could say is, you know, we need a Whittier Tech. We need a new school there. I know that's going to be a very difficult thing for Haverhill to do, but that's looking into it. We need a new Constantino, and that should be built. We got the Basileia Bridge thing going on, and that's going to cause a little bit of congestion. I'm sure more congestion than the city already has. We have an animal control shelter. I don't know if any of you know that. It's ridiculous. I don't even think it's sane for an animal to be inside. But not only we've been leasing a trailer down there for years. Yet and again, I'm not going to touch out on things, but the city's more than willing to put out a lot of money for a entertainment court and put off the actual animal shelter that was 2021, and it was at least a couple of years prior to that we could put in $3 million, just say, not that it would cost that much, but we could probably put $3 million into that and have a proper animal control shelter. We all love our pets dearly, and when your dog runs away, I can guarantee you don't want to walk in to see where they're being housed until you come pick them up. I wouldn't. I'm not a cat person. Please don't. I don't hate them. I love all animals. I'm not a cat person. I wouldn't put a cat in there. So let's just put it that way. And then we got this river. You know, our river runs through Haverhill. We have to speak to the rest of the communities upriver of what goes on and what comes down, because as we all know, and the old saying goes, it all flows downhill, and I'm going to keep it clean. So we got to work with other communities to try to keep this as clean as possible, so we can kind of enjoy the river as being something nice. We got a lot of yacht clubs and a lot of boat ramps and private boat ramps, and I'm sure that they could enjoy a little bit more of a cleaner river. So, in closing, I would just humbly ask you to pass along to your family and friends and your neighbors, vote Guy Cooper for the office of mayor. Enjoy the rest. Well, if these guys sing.